Hey everyone, I'm Eric, and this is Composite Conversations, a podcast where we'll discuss a variety of topics, including video games, technology, travel, and other newsworthy topics. Today I'm joined by Abe and Curtis.
Hello.
Hey.
And since this is our first episode, this will be an introductory show where you get to know us a little bit. Today we'll dive into our gaming history, discuss the recent games we've played, and upcoming releases. So I'm going to start with my where I started from. I had an NES. My brother owned it. He was not allowed to own it anymore, so I got it. So that's where it started. Got a Game Boy Color, and then N64, GameCube. Usually stuck to Nintendo products, and then got an Xbox 360, and now have an Xbox One. What I've been playing lately, Forza Horizon 3. Any of the Call of Duties, disparagingly, and...
What do you mean disparaging? Do you not care for those anymore?
Yeah, I don't like them anymore.
So why do you keep playing?
Because so my friends in Florida play them.
Okay.
So like I have a group chat that I'm a part of.
And you've been playing those games forever.
Yeah, and then I'm not finding them as enjoyable anymore.
Yeah.
And so I've put down a few of them. And then I've restarted again on Pokemon Moon.
Oh yeah.
I still haven't beat it.
You still haven't beat it? Mm-hmm. All right. Well, where did you start gaming, Abe?
Well, I also started with the NES, and I think it was old. I think it was kind of old at that point. So I was pretty young, maybe 4 or something. So it was maybe 92 or something, or 91 that we got one. So Mario is actually the first game that I remember playing, and Duck Hunt, which I loved, both of those. And then I think Sega had just released, so my next console was Sega. My cousin was saying, he's like, Mario's pretty cool, but there's this blue guy that I play, and it's a lot cooler than Mario. And so I was pretty jealous, so we got a Sega Genesis. And then after that, honestly, it was mostly Nintendo consoles after that. And then I would say recently, the last couple generations, and starting with Xbox when that came out, I played Halo at my cousin's house. And then I pretty much started buying every console, every generation. But Nintendo always kind of has a close place in my heart because Zelda's my favorite game. I love Mario games, and I tend to buy those no matter what. So today I have all the current consoles and a lot of different games for it.
What have you been playing lately?
I have not played that much lately. I've been starting a lot of games and not really finishing it. So I bought Pokemon, and I've played to the second island, and I haven't played it since. And I also don't know why I bought this game, but I bought Watch Dogs 2. And I walked around San Francisco because I love San Francisco. And I showed my twin sister that it looked like San Francisco. And that's the only thing I've done with it.
Oh, wow.
and then I bought Resident Evil 7, which I actually weirdly love. And I think I'm almost at the end of the game. So I'm a pretty big fan of it.
I want to come back to that. Because I do want to talk more about that.
I love horror games. So I'm a little bit biased when it comes to those games. But I did want to say, in general, today, I've liked all different sorts of games over the history of me playing games. Today, in general, I like horror games. I like story games like Uncharted and Tomb Raider and Last of Us. And open world games sometimes. And in general, that's what I like.
All right.
So I'll pass it on to you.
Cool story, bro.
Curtis, where'd you start?
Like you guys, I started with the NES. Not really that surprising, I imagine, for most people.
We're so diverse.
In our age group. I do remember, I think it was like 89. It was like 1989. Like it was a Christmas. We got that, and we got the Duck Hunt Super Mario Brothers combo. It come with the light gun and everything. You guys remember that bundle?
Yeah.
That's exactly
what I got.
Okay. So yeah, like I got that, and then we would sort of like get new consoles. We weren't exactly like rich, so we weren't getting them like day one. Like we would get them a couple years after they would launch. So we got like Super Nintendo later. I didn't get I didn't get a Genesis until I think after we got a PlayStation. Like I didn't care about the Genesis. Like there was nothing, like I didn't care about Sonic. I'd played it at other people's houses. Like this goes too fast. I can't appreciate anything in the world that they're throwing at me. It's just this guy's running to end as fast as he can. That's not fun to me. But PlayStation was like the one console that I ultimately landed on as like my favorite. And Sony has become my go-to console maker. Like, I still try and get everything I can. Like, I haven't got an Xbox One. I don't have much of a reason to right now. And I've had all the PlayStations. I just got a PS4 at the end of last year as a Christmas gift for myself. And even that, like, as much as I love Sony, there's not much on that console that I feel warranted the purchase. Because
for PlayStation 4?
For PlayStation 4.
Oh, compared to a computer.
Yeah, because I built a PC a couple years ago, and anything that I would play on PS4, I can pretty much find on PS or PC, except for like Uncharted or Bloodborne, things like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like same as you guys, I kind of came up playing a little bit of everything. But I'd say probably like open world, like Grand Theft Auto games are like my go-to. But I would probably go like Mario, like platformers are like my thing. Like any Mario.
Still?
Oh yeah, like that's literally my favorite genre.
So when you say any platformer or any Mario, basically just Mario.
Well, no, because like Ratchet and Clank, is still like
actually,
fantastic series.
Did you get the new one?
I did. Like that was one of like after I beat Final Fantasy 15, I had a sort of backlog of PS4 games I wanted to go through, and that was like I think the second one that I played, and like. Even though it's based off a movie and it's essentially a retread of the very first Ratchet and Clank game, it's still fucking solid, and it is a beautiful game to look at.
Actually, I love platformers. Yeah. I still love platformers. Yeah. I forgot about that.
But yeah, I don't know. I feel like I will give anything a shot, but if I'm bored and I just want to play something quick, like Grand Theft Auto or Mario are really where I'm going to go
I kind of
comfort zone.
I don't know if you guys are like this, but now that I'm older, the games where I have to think like the least, or I guess if it is, like that's why I kind of like Uncharted, because it's not too hard, and if you die, you don't have to go back that far, and it always tells you where to go, and it's like I kind of tend to prefer those type nowadays. And I don't mind if it's a little bit tougher than that, as long as it's super forgiving.
Right.
And it reminds me a week later what I need to do. I was talking to Eric a little bit about that earlier, but now that I'm older, I can't always play it 20 hours in a row. Right.
No, I get you. Like, that's like the job that I have now. It's like a 9-to-5 thing. And so when I get home, I'm like, I don't really want to play anything that engrossing. I just want to like shoot dudes. Or I just want to like tool around in the world for like an hour or two while like watching Hulu or Netflix. Just like something on in the background where I'm just like mindlessly killing or mindlessly playing something. Like, I'm happier with that. Most days.
I have like a super good example of this, and I'm curious what you... Because you played the Fables, right, Eric?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I remember maybe it was the second one came out, and they had something called like a breadcrumb trail, and it essentially like told you exactly where to walk to.
Yeah.
And then you could deviate from that if you wanted, but to go to your next objective, it said that. And at the time, I think that was one of the first times that a game did that. And I remember it got tons of criticism, which is ironic because today almost every game does that.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking at the time, like, I actually kind of liked it. It's not that I necessarily want to go to the next objective, but I like to know that the next objective is there and I can do anything I want if I go, if I go this direction. Because, back before you would walk, I would want to go every single place. And I would accidentally walk to the objective first, and it's like, oh shit! And then you have to go back.
It locks you out of that, freedom to roam around sometimes, and it's like that sucks.
So I don't have a problem with it telling me to go. I don't like figuring out where to go. Right. I like to go wherever I want to go, but I like to know where if I wanted to.
Right. No, like you like the option of being able to told where to go, because like once you've finished exploring as much as you want, and now you're like, well, fuck, how do I get back to where I'm supposed to go? And especially if you don't have like a fast travel.
Yeah.
With something like that in handy, you just click like a button and it's like, all right, just follow the trail and there you go. Like that's super great. And I know like a lot of people complain about like video games like hold your hand, and to an extent like with some tutorials in games, like it's just like most of us have played enough Zelda games. We know how the controls generally work. We know generally how the world works. Same with Mario. But those first few hours you play a Mario or a Zelda, they just hit you over the head with press A to attack, press B to dodge. It's like, unless you've changed some drastic mechanic and you can't put that in an instruction manual, which do not exist anymore in a physical form, at least. Yeah, but like that whole idea is so unnecessary to me. But I understand, like, there's always new people playing, so they need the instructions. But it's like, make it skippable. Like, make a tutorial skippable. And for the veterans that have played this, especially if it's a long-running series, like I don't need a tutorial for every new Zelda game or Mario game. Like that's super annoying to me.
Yeah.
So next topic.
Does Zelda?
Well, Zelda always has a tutorial.
Yeah, but it's built into the world. It never felt.
No, but well.
They never felt like I played every Zelda game. I love Zelda. Like it's probably my favorite series, and I've never felt like, man. I recently played Ocarina of Time or Twilight Princess. Well, the Twilight Princess is probably the worst. Honestly, it was pretty.
Like
annoying.
that takes about 3 hours to really get that game to get good.
Wind Waker, for example. I mean, you start on the island, you're kind of exploring, and a lot of the tutorials just interacting with things, and I thought it felt pretty natural.
No,
I don't remember thinking that.
That was good.
I don't remember thinking it was a problem.
But like Twilight Princess and I think Skyward Sword were two of the more egregious, where they really just were like, here's a dungeon to explore, but like every 5 feet you took, they were like, bloop, what's her face with Eevee or what? I don't know what's the sword's name in Skyward Sword. Anyway,
but you didn't get that sword for a long time.
But I mean,
you're dealing on a farm for most. I understand what you're saying, but yeah, that one it took forever to get into it.
Yeah, because they just wanted.
And
to
it
stop
didn't even feel like Zelda.
No.
Yeah,
like Wind Waker or Ocarina of Time felt like Zelda even in
right
the
from the start. Yeah. All right.
Cool. So.
We hate video games, is what you should take away, and we're all curmudgeonly old and awful.
Some of us.
So I want to discuss the last game that you played. So what was the last thing that was in your hand?
This is a PG podcast. I don't think.
Yeah. So the last video game that was in your hand.
There we go. Oh God.
No, actually, what was the last game you played and that you had in your hand? No, I'm just kidding.
Uno.
Oh, probably. I think I played something back at Thanksgiving. I don't remember. Jeez, God, what was the last game? Bloodborne. Bloodborne was the last game that I've played. I played that a couple nights ago, which is that whole like Dark Souls, Demon Souls thing. I know it gets a lot of flack for being like hard, and it is. It's an unfair game, but I wouldn't say it's impossible. Like it's not an impossibly hard game. It's just it doesn't hold your hand, and it really hinders on that very old school NES mechanic of no passwords. You die, you lose everything, and you essentially go right back to the start, which is, if you're impatient like me, and you sort of have a short fuse for shit like that, like me, it's not a desirable game. So I really can only play it for an hour and a half before I'm just like, all right, I need to walk away from this game.
Don't you have to play it for a long time? I mean, to get
essentially
good and
you do. Like that's the whole like the meta joke of Dark Souls is get good, and it's like if you don't have the time to invest in it, you're not going to appreciate it the same as someone who is level 1,000,000 in that game and can just wipe everything out in one hit. So there is a time investment, and if you do have the patience for it, it is a rewarding game. There's like some of the weapons you get are super awesome, and a lot of the designs of the enemies and the costumes and apparel that you get do look really cool, but you have to put in work for it. And if you're not willing to do that, it's not going to be a game that you find rewarding.
I love the aesthetic to that game, but it sounds zero fun.
Yeah.
I hate it.
And I totally get that. I know why people wouldn't like that series, and I get that. It's the same for Destiny. Like, I look at Destiny, I'm like, these guns look cool, this armor looks cool, but like, I play it, and I'm like, it's the same thing over and over again on just different worlds with slightly
I don't know if that's fair. I get
enemies.
what you're saying. I feel like it's like Destiny. Yes, that's true, but it has some of the best gunplay ever made, in my opinion.
It's super solid.
And if you're with friends, and I'm not like there's boring stuff in Destiny, but if you're with friends doing the co-op stuff, I mean, it's probably some of the best co-op ever
that's
for certain areas of it. But you have to do a lot of like bullshit to get to that.
There's a lot of like scaffolding work that has to be done for Destiny before you start to really enjoy it for what it is.
When it's good, it's probably some of the best that there is. Unfortunately, it's very boring a lot of times.
Deb and I bought it for like $5. because it's been like a few years since it's came out. And
Destiny?
we're like, why not? I can spare.
Did you get all the expansion packs and stuff?
No, I think it was like a used copy, like Lost Ark. We were like, $5, let's just do it. And I probably won't invest that much time in it that I would need the DLC. And by the time I get there, the DLC will probably be $5 anyway. So like, it's not gonna be.
But it's not. The game is literally fun. And this is not a good way to sell a game. I'm not saying this is a good way to design a game. The end game is what's fun.
Right.
Everything else isn't really that fun. So if you're not going to invest time in it, I would say don't invest time in it.
Well,
I mean, don't invest any time in it.
Well, like, I need to start playing with people. Like, Deb and I have never actually got on together to play, and I think that will make it more fun. But considering I dropped $5 on it, I don't feel like I've wasted my money. But it's going to get to that point to where, like, I need to start playing with others or I'll never play this game again. Because I'm still really early in the game. I'm like level 10, I think. So like, I'm still early on.
I was looking at, if you waited up until this point, they have the games with all of the DLC available. And they're like, it's like $60. It's like, if you've never played that game, it's a good bargain.
I think that's what I got when I re-bought it.
I think it's a really good deal. I was playing it recently. And I enjoy that game.
Yeah. No, I've heard great things about it. It's just the multiplayer component matters, and that's where I haven't participated yet. So,
Abe, what was the last thing you played?
Okay, so because we made a joke about actual games, I just wanted to say this because it was really fun. I'm going to take 5 seconds for it. I was at a new brewery the other week, and they had this game. So it was an awesome brewery, by the way, but they had this game from Cyanide and Happiness, and it was super fun. So it was kind of like Cards Against Humanity or Apples to Apples, where you pick cards, except the cards were like cartoon panels from Cyanide and Happiness, and so someone would like play a card in the center, and then or 2 cards in the center, for example, and then everyone else would have to play the last panel with the cards that they had in their hand, and it was hilarious. It's a super good game.
That sounds
so that was the last real game that I played. Okay. So the last video game that I played...
Now that you've one-upped me.
The last video game I literally just played and had it on when you guys are about to come over was Stardew Valley. But I only started the intro, so I'm not going to talk about that. Okay. I mean, I literally haven't done anything in it, but it looks interesting.
So the last game you purchased was Stardew Valley.
Yeah, correct. But the last game I really played, and then I think I'm almost at the end, is Resident Evil 7, which I really like. It's... I actually like, so I like Resident Evil games. I played the first one, and I played the fourth one. I played parts of the second one a long time ago, but I played all the way through the first one, all the way through the fourth one. The fifth one I bought and didn't really like. The sixth one I just skipped because it's too actiony. 7, I think I like the direction it took. It's very like, I was talking to Eric earlier, it's like that PT thing that was on PlayStation.
The whole first person walking through a haunted cabin or house or whatever.
Yeah, but it's much more slow pace. It's in first person. It's the scares aren't really, I mean, sometimes there's jump scares, but in general it's more kind of the atmosphere, I would say. Like it kind of has a creepy, I mean, you could play for a long time and nothing happens. You just feel kind of uncomfortable. Or maybe there's an enemy going after you and you really don't have enough bullets to kill every single thing. So typically you're hiding, or some you can't kill at all. So you just have to hide or kind of avoid, similar to Alien Isolation. I don't know if you guys have played that at all.
No, but I've heard good things about that too.
So I mean Alien Isolation had kind of that one gimmick, and this has more things going on to it, but I mean, I like Alien Isolation a lot too, actually.
I did play the demo for Resident Evil 7 like 2 weeks before 7 came out, and I think you summed it up well, where there are times where not a lot happens, but the atmosphere and just the general feeling of everything, like the subtle creaks of like wood and the subtle scrapes that you hear, like especially if you got a good pair of headphones and you're playing that in the dark, it is goddamn creepy. And there was one bit in that demo, you're about 75% through, you still haven't seen anything, you just keep hearing noises, and you get this video cassette and you put it in, and it sort of gives you the backstory of the demo, like how you got where you were. And then as soon as like you turn around, there's this door behind you that's open, and you just see this guy he walks by, and it literally, like, I was like, like I literally gasped, and like almost like threw the controller down because I was like, what the fuck? Like, I did not see that coming. I did not like that. And I don't get scared by most things. That genuinely scared me. And I was like, all right, I'm sold. I'm not sold on a $60 price tag because I'm a cheap bastard, but I will play Resident Evil 7 because that demo was fucking amazing.
So I actually think it's pretty good. This is a weird thing to say. It does not hold, there's no HUD. It doesn't hold your hand. I mean, a lot of times like objectives are because, well, I mean, one time you open a fridge, it's like a guy called you and there was like a head. He's like, check the fridge and there was a head and then you rotate it. And like on the back, there was a note that said the next place to go or something. And it typically, like, it really doesn't hold your hand. I mean, you kind of are asked to explore and find things that kind of lead you to the next place. And it's in a way they do, and maybe it's just the way that's designed, but I've never got, so in general, I don't like when things don't hold your hand. I literally just talked about that with you guys. But this, the way it's designed, I've never got stuck. It always felt like I naturally found the next place to go. Or I saw, like maybe you're in a room and there's like papers on the wall and you pick one up. And you rotate it on the back. It kind of looks like a map of the room. And you're like, wait a second. And then you go walk over to where there's a red dot. And that opens a wall or something. You go to the next place. And it's always felt kind of... I mean, as long as you explore, it felt pretty natural that you go to the next place. But I like... It's actually super fun. I like it. So I'll pass it over to Eric.
All right. So the last thing I played... literally, I played this morning Forza Horizon 3.
No, is that pronounced Forza or Forza? Because I've heard both ways.
Well, I say Forza because there's no T in it.
Okay. But it is Italian.
Where have you heard it that way?
I've heard like both. I've heard both.
Yeah, well, I've heard people say that way. It's a open world Need for Speed kind of game. It's very easy to just kind of zone out and just follow a line. The thing I like most about it is gorgeous to look at. So it's set in like Australia, so you get this condensed version of the continent. So there's desert area, there's jungle area, there's an urban area. They've just released a DLC for like a snow mountain. Mm-hmm. So you have these like stereotypical like elements of like video games of their environments. You pick the cars that you want that exist in real life. You can do whatever you want with them, and then you can just launch them off of cliffs if you want. You can drive them on the beach. It's a lot of fun. The best part of it to me, though, is the soundtrack. So there's like 8, maybe 9 different radio channels, varying in like genres, but they have really good songs. Like I found that I've actually downloaded the albums of some of these artists from the game onto my phone because I like them. And I actually sent you guys a screenshot of one of them that I enjoyed so much.
I reported that as spam.
Oh, thanks. But it's just like a fun game. Like you guys said, like at the end of the day, I'm not looking for puzzles. I'm just kind of looking to kind of zone out and kind of like relax and, at the end of the day. It's a perfect game to do that. Other than that, because of lack of storage on my console, which I'm gonna have to remedy with an external hard drive soon, that's really all I've been playing. I've only got like 6 or 7 games on my thing and most of them are Call of Duty-esque, where if I'm playing with people, they're a lot more fun. If I'm playing by myself, I usually get crushed and do not enjoy myself. So I don't typically play them by myself. So that's what I've been playing.
All right. So we got a little bit of diversity, sort of, between these 3 white guys.
Yeah.
All playing video games. So I guess the next big thing that's on the horizon would be the Nintendo Switch, which is, from this recording, it's literally 2 weeks away. And I have to say personally, and I won't speak for you guys,
Thanks.
I should be way more excited for this than I am. I do not think it's going to bomb. I do not think it's going to do great numbers. But there's just something about the Switch that has completely unsold me on its product. Like, Zelda looks cool, but it's also on Wii U, which I already have. So I have no reason to invest, aside from the gimmick of the Switch. Mario looks fucking cool, but there's no release date, so I have no reason to buy in March when it's probably not going to be until the holidays. And anything else they've shown just looks really gimmicky, and I threw out gimmicks after the Wii, so there's little in this console that has me excited. And I feel really bad because I grew up with Nintendo, just like all of us, and I should be fucking stoked that a console is launching, and I don't care.
Why do you feel like you should be excited?
Because I'm just someone who's a huge fan of new video game technology, and I always get excited no matter what. I was excited for the Vita, I was excited for the DS, and the Vita, it was pretty much DOA. Like, as soon as it came out, like, not many people were really that excited, and there's really only a handful of games that people say if you get a Vita, you should get these games with. But for the Wii was fucking massive. Hundreds of millions of units sold worldwide. It's arguably one of the strongest selling consoles ever. Maybe not the best console just because of sales numbers, but they followed that up 3 years later with the Wii U, which was much like the Xbox One, was a horrible naming choice for people that aren't necessarily in the know and go in to ask for something like, what's the difference between a Wii and a Wii U? They're going to be a little bit confused. And I bought a Wii U because I told myself, if Wind Waker HD ever makes it on Wii U, I will buy a Wii U for it. What happened? Wind Waker HD came out and there was a fucking bundle. So I was like, I'm in. So there we go.
I did the same thing. I've
got maybe like 5 games that I've played on that. The Smash, Donkey Kong, Mario Kart. Like, there's not that many. And
I think, though, to be fair, Curtis, I mean, you think of any Nintendo console over the last 3 generations, how many games did you really buy for it?
Exactly. And I should stop giving a huge expectation for Nintendo, but I still have that nostalgia is so big for it that it's hard to not at least moderately get excited, but I'm not excited at all for the Switch.
I'm wondering if it's going to be if they're going to start being like a used market for me. So I wait a few years, 3, 4, whatever, get the console secondhand, and then start getting the games used. Because I agree, the number that you buy for them, and at least keep and fully enjoy, is low. And more frequently, aside from like Smash Brothers, I'm trying to think of any other games on like Wii, GameCube, or Wii U that I played where multiple people are involved, and it's Smash Brothers, Mario Kart. For GameCube, I would say Phantasy Star Online, but that was also on Dreamcast and Xbox.
No, I mean, but the ones that are Nintendo only, that are good.
So those are all single player.
Right. And they make great first party games, but that's really kind of hard to justify.
But even still, that's minimal. And the ones that we really want to see, well, me personally, I want to see Metroid. I want to see a 2D Metroid, and I also want to see
a good.
Seriously though, I mean, I bought a Wii U, and I enjoyed it or whatever. But I have, I mean, the true reason I bought it is like, I want the next Zelda game. There was no Zelda game that came out for it.
Well, not
and
until
there's no
Breath of the
Metroid.
Wild comes out.
Yeah, but it's coming out for the next console. I mean, it's kind of like, come on, like I could have just skipped.
You didn't want Wind Waker HD?
No, I mean, of course, but it's not like it's a different game than. I mean, I didn't need it. I bought it because I already had the console, and I love Wind Waker or whatever. But it's not. I don't know if that really justified it, except for someone like me who's a huge fan. Yeah.
The thing I enjoyed most about at least the Wii U, and I think if I was to get a Switch, I would probably enjoy as much the second screen feature. So, Abe, you and I have talked about this. When you're in a relationship with somebody and they're watching TV or Netflix or whatever, to be able to play a game on a handheld, still have it, and it's still like the same functionality.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of like a relief. The only thing I don't like about it absolutely is the resolution on that pad needs to be higher. And then also I need to be able to take it further than 30 feet away from the TV.
Is it high definition even? I mean, like the Wii U. The Wii U, is it?
The Wii U caps out at like 720.
Yeah.
And
which
then,
is technically high res.
Is it? Does it even cap out at 720? I don't think it does.
Well, on the TV.
No, I mean,
on the pad?
The pad itself.
The pad, I don't think
it
so.
was super low resolution.
But that's what I'm saying. So the Switch needs to be high resolution.
Is it though?
I don't know.
I feel like I should know this, and I feel like I know the specs, but they're not coming to mind. But like the Switch kind of, you know, is continuing what you really liked about the Wii U in that you can take the gaming wherever you want. But I do recall reading in the early stages when they were like, the devs were playing with it, when you play it sort of off the, trying to think, the dock, when you play it off of that, like it seriously struggles to compete with when you're playing it on the dock. Like they were playing like Skyrim and I think even Zelda. When you're playing it in your hands versus playing it on the TV, it's considerable frame rate drops, considerable differences. That it's like, why?
I didn't really notice that.
But those are
this is on the Switch, not the Wii U. No, the Wii U I never had it.
No, I didn't.
Like, it was
I'm sorry.
But like the Switch,
it would chug eventually, like occasionally. But those games are high horsepower games,
right?
To take those mobile, you're asking a lot. Let alone you're asking a lot from Nintendo.
Yeah,
they don't do well. So I've been playing my DS with Animal Crossing, Pokemon Moon, Smash Brothers. Basically, just like using my DS and noticing that the graphic capability is nothing more than basically PlayStation 1 level stuff, like good PlayStation 1 stuff.
Yeah, maybe early era PlayStation 2, but that's kind of pushing it.
And then even still, like those games still like chug. But I can load up something on my phone. Granted, it'll eat my battery in like 3 hours, but still, like the frame rate's there, the resolution's there, the computing capacity is there.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't see that if they continue with this, what I would arguably call weak handheld experience. When I mean, granted, if the gameplay's there, great. That makes up for a lot. But if the technical prowess of the device does not match up to what the home device can be, especially with the Switch, then
I mean, is that the case with the Switch for sure?
That it lacks the ability to keep up.
Yeah. It's not. It doesn't seem like a complete 1-to-1. Like I'm playing the same on the handheld aspect as I'm playing on the TV aspect. I don't think it's complete 1-to-1. I think there's considerable lag and differences.
To be clear, and maybe I misunderstand.
For the record, none of us have actually played the Switch, so this is all just off like hearsay and articles that we've read. So.
Doesn't the Wii U like stream to the pad? I mean, isn't it using the console itself to run it? I don't totally understand. Isn't that the same idea with the Switch?
That probably explains like the fact that the distance is only so far you can go.
I mean, with the Switch, there's to be a problem. I thought it was just using it. I thought it was just streaming the footage.
Well, it is until you take it out of that that radius.
Well, like in general, I'm probably not going to be.
You're not, but if half of the purpose of your console is you can take it on the go.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Then kind of what's the point?
So I don't. To be honest, and the only reason I and I probably will end up buying one when it's cheap, just because I love Nintendo games. But I truthfully, and Eric, what you brought up earlier, when you're in a relationship, if you have a family or any sort of thing in your life, that the ability to be like, like, hey babe, I want to watch a show, and just to take it off, you're like, well, I don't really want to watch it, but I can still, you can use the TV, I can still play my game, sit next to you or whatever. I mean, I think that's actually a super cool feature, and it's something that makes, with the new technology being like virtual reality, and you need high horsepower computers and stuff to run it. It's a nice medium, I guess, for like the average Joe who maybe doesn't play a lot or doesn't want to spend a lot of money and wants it to be functional in like a family type household.
Yeah.
So related to the Switch, I want to get your opinions on the new Zelda. It's a launch title for the Switch in 2 weeks. I've watched a few gameplay videos of it. It looks a lot of fun. The open world aspect of it seems incredibly interesting to me. I think there's actually like voice acting in this one, which I'm surprised to see. I think it's overdue, but I'm still very surprised. I just want to get your opinions on it.
Abraham, you're the biggest Zelda.
Unfortunately, I haven't really watched very much on it. I mean, I saw one of the reveal trailers a long time ago, and maybe one other trailer, and that's it. But it's Zelda. I'll buy it. I'll probably like it. I'm not really that worried. I didn't really want to spoil. I think one of the recent Zeldas I watched tons on. So I don't remember if it's Skyward Sword or Twilight Princess or something. And it kind of ruined. I'd rather, like, I know I'll like it. I mean, yeah, there's a lot changed, but I'd rather just kind of walk into it. Yeah, so I saw, it looks pretty. I like the way it looks. I've seen some things that looks cool. I don't know if I have a lot to say about it other than I'll buy it and probably like it.
I mean, the Zelda series I have an up and down relationship with. Like, I am one of the people that doesn't like Ocarina of Time. I know it's heralded as like probably the best game of all time, at least on consoles.
Oh, why don't you like it?
I think it goes back to it's just not fun for me.
He's trying to be hipster.
Yeah, I'm being so contrarian. Like, it's either Metal Gear Solid or shut up. Like, seriously, Metal Gear Solid's the best game of all time. If you disagree, you suck. But I don't know. There's like, I can appreciate the art of Ocarina of Time, and I love a lot of the music that's in it. But I felt it was very vague in describing direction in some of the early parts of that game. It wasn't super telling. Like, it was just like, oh, go fight so and so on Goron Mountain. I don't know where the fuck Goron Mountain is. So I have to wander around. And this was before like open world games were really big. At least with like Mario giving you Peach's Castle, you still had a finite number of places you could go. And once you're in that world, it's still finite. As big as those worlds look, it was still finite.
So is this opinion based on when it came out?
Yes and no, because I have tried to go back to it through like emulators and things like that, and it's just I don't know. Maybe I'm so torn about it from a childhood that I don't want to give it the time of day. And trying to play it now, it's just an ugly game, which doesn't matter that much. But it's like, I don't want to stare at this for 20, 30 hours. I have to play this. So it's like, I know
30 hours?
I don't know how long that game takes. How long does that game take to beat?
I don't feel like that's way too
Aren't
long.
most Zelda games like 20, 30 hours?
Nah, they take me like 15 or under, I feel like.
Whatever, the time investment.
Anyway, that game actually still looks pretty good, I think. Honestly, for an old game.
I don't think that it does. And I don't think Metal Gear Solid looks good anymore.
I think it looks good because you can get it as a digital download for the DS. I think under that scenario, I think it looks good. Again, if it's putting out PlayStation 1, Nintendo 64 graphics, it makes perfect sense.
I mean, in my opinion, Nintendo 64's graphics, like Mario 64, Banjo-Kazooie, Zelda, they all don't look. I recently played like the HD remakes of a lot of those, and they look, honestly, because they're so colorful and the color palette is very like solid red, solid this. Yes, like some of the textures are a little bit jaggy, but like in HD, they're clear, they're sharp, it's colorful. It doesn't look like, when you look at some of the old PlayStation 1 games, I can't even tell what it's supposed to be sometimes, honestly. Even if it is in HD, I just can't tell. Where I feel like they were pretty simple with the way that they used the colors and the graphics then. And it still looks, honestly, in my opinion, it looks pretty good. It looks better than a lot of DS games and stuff, or 3DS games coming out today. So I actually disagree that it looks better. I think that some of those old Nintendo games look... I'm not saying like they don't blow my mind, but they're not hurting my eyes to look at. Like, go play Final Fantasy VII again. I legit can't tell what I'm even looking at sometimes.
That game is ugly. Like, it's one of my favorite games. That game is ugly now. What do you think? Are you excited for Zelda?
I'm curious at the very least.
Yeah.
Again, like, I still haven't played Wind Waker. Just for... Ever. Like, it's been on my list for a long time. Just never got around to it.
That's probably my favorite game.
Yeah, that's like my favorite Zelda game.
And that's why I'm just like, I need to play it.
Yeah.
So I've forgotten that both of you have downloaded it digitally twice now, and asked to borrow it twice now.
Sorry.
So it's only like $20 or something, or I could probably just get a used one for even less, and then just keep it or trade it in. It's gonna get played at some point. Like, I don't think I'll be getting rid of my Wii U. But anyway, what is it? Breath of the Wild.
Yeah,
it looks intriguing, but it's probably just going to be one that it's going to be a while before I play it. Because I don't even know when or if I'm going to get this console.
You have a Wii U? Just get on that.
That's true.
I mean,
that's
maybe,
what I'm going to do.
But they did that with GameCube and Wii with Twilight Princess, and the GameCube game didn't get as not high of reviews, but didn't get the accolades that people enjoyed from the Wii version.
But wasn't it literally the same thing?
Literally,
except
but
you
yes,
could
but
waggle
the controls are
Yeah,
more
but-
fine-tuned or intended for a different purpose.
I mean, I feel like the only thing... I mean, I literally just played the remake, and I don't know if they cleaned stuff up, but I obviously wasn't wagging my controller around. I mean, as far as I know, because I got it for Wii, and I played it on Wii, and I think it was literally the same thing, except you could, like, shake your hand. If you shook it, then he would swing. And it wasn't, like, one-to-one. I mean, you know, Skyward Sword is actually kind of cool because they use it for puzzles, because... I wouldn't say it was 1-to-1, but it was actually like
Well, they had the
kind of good
Wii
enough.
Motion Plus, I think.
yeah, so that helped with the motion.
It still wasn't
Yeah.
compared to like modern VR. It's
What
pretty
I
cool.
remember from the reviews was that for some of the puzzles, and then like for the first-person modes, the Wiimote helped with that. Like it was just part of the experience.
Yeah.
So that's how I played it as well. So if it's intended for Switch, I would like to play it on Switch.
But well, I mean, what does Switch have?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know what the selling point is, because it doesn't seem like there's that much difference. But to be fair, until like 2 weeks ago, I didn't know that Zelda was still coming out for Wii U, because they totally are just trying to sell you on the Switch now, which makes sense. They're a business; they're trying to make money. They're not going to tell you it's also old for their old console. But I don't like until someone tells me what the differences are. As far as I know, like I'll be happy getting the Wii U one and saving another $250.
Unless the frame rate's terrible or like something,
Yeah.
I don't, or like the graphics are way worse.
Which I don't think they will be.
Then I'll just buy it for
I feel
Wii U.
like the Wii U would be a safe bet.
And I'm not gonna get a Switch until they have like at least 1 or 2 games that I
So
want.
why not just make that part of your 1 or 2 games?
Because I don't need it to be.
Yeah.
I
Why
can buy
would-
for my
but
current.
Why
It
wait
is.
until there's a second
But
game?
it's not. Why would I want to buy the same game for a different console for no reason?
Yeah.
Right.
And
What
then
I'm saying
wait.
is why not just wait
Well,
until like it drops, and then A, you get the game cheaper, B, you get the console cheaper.
But I like Zelda. Why would I wait to play it?
I mean, go for it.
I can play it when it comes out. Actually, to be fair, I probably will wait to play it just because I'm busy and have other games to play.
Yeah.
But
Well, the game that I'm not going to wait to play,
Yeah, good
31
segue.
days away as we record this, Mass Effect Andromeda.
Yes.
It is by far my favorite series, by far my favorite game. We've had many conversations about this. I want to let you guys explain why you're excited for it.
Not it.
Abe, go for it.
I mean, so I said when I saw my background, my favorite games, honestly, are story-driven games. And I love Mass Effect story. I like their universe. I'm probably going to get crucified saying this by people who like sci-fi. And I love sci-fi. I've seen a lot of sci-fi stuff, read sci-fi books. I think Mass Effect has the best sci-fi universe. I just love it. I love how it's realized. I like the politics of it. I literally just like every single thing about it. I like it better than Star Wars, guys. Star Trek. It's just, I don't know. I'm a huge fan.
I feel like those three subjects are a little bit different. Like Star Trek was a little bit more, let's use our minds to figure out a problem rather than violence. Whereas Star Wars is all about, I'm just going to kill everything until I get my way. For the most part. I mean, that's a very basic.
And honestly, I haven't
explanation.
read all the Star Wars books.
Right.
I don't know all the extended
No,
universe
there's
and stuff
probably
that
more
don't.
subtle.
But I feel like Mass Effect, and hopefully it continues to be like this. Is it the same writers and stuff? I don't think it is who are doing these new games. But they thought through. I think the politic. It feels very real. I mean, they look at like if you look at the different races in it, they have their own culture. They have their own way of thinking that drives the actions that they do within the world, and it feels realistic. It's obviously inspired by different cultures on Earth. You know, you see those traits in some of the different ones, but it feels very well thought out to me. The characters honestly are extremely relatable. They feel real. I like to get to know them and talk to them. And with the not so much the first game, but with the second and third game, I found the fighting to be very fun, and you had a lot of options, and I never really got bored of it. It felt relatively intuitive and kind of fun and fast paced, but never so hard where I was getting frustrated or kind of cheap.
Can I add to that? My
Yeah.
favorite part of the third one was the multiplayer aspect.
I
Wow.
spent a lot of time with the multiplayer.
Did you?
So you beat the game, you go through, and then I would play the game again, knowing like what the outcomes are, and try and change it.
Yeah.
So there's multiple playthroughs in your single player mode, but the thing that I enjoyed was getting into a party with friends and then just doing a horde mode where you build your character, you upgrade their class and weapons and all that stuff as you would in the single player game. But then, it's co-op. What I really want to see is co-op in Mass Effect. I don't know how they would do it.
The single player?
Somehow. Like, just set in, like, a larger area than these confined rooms. You know what I mean?
What is it called? I don't know what they call it, like asymmetrical co-op, like in Dark Souls, where you interact with other people, but they're not necessarily...
Always there.
Yeah, or they're not required to progress.
Right.
I feel like there's a game that I played that kind of did that recently. Not dark, like more like...
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what that might be.
But I think something like that, where you're online, where there's other people maybe in the world interacting.
So, like Destiny, then. So, like, people can come and go with you as you see, and, like, you can pass by them. They can stick with you and continue on with your mission, or they can drop out. I don't know how they would do that. I think it would be...
No, but why not? I mean, maybe the Citadel's a hub world, and you can go around and do all the stuff you normally do in the Citadel, buying stuff. Or maybe there's more. Just as you progress through the game, maybe you go to another hub world or whatever, and while you're there, you can talk to real people, and maybe you can have them join you on missions if they're on the same one. Right? I mean, maybe
that would be interesting.
Or you cannot, or you can.
The problem with it is. With the story. So Mass Effect is such a decision-based story thing. Having somebody like alongside you, A, could mess up your story if they're allowed to be involved with the decision-making, or B, they're going through the story, you're narrating it, and they're not getting any real benefit. I mean, maybe like they can see how it goes differently.
Yeah.
But I think just having simplistic missions would be a great start. So it's like you start out at point A, there's some objective in the midpoint, and then there's a boss fight, down the road. I think that would be just a great start.
Yeah. What if there were side missions or something, and they're just like Destiny, like you just run into random people in the world and they can help you or not, but they have their own story. It's like less. I don't know, something like that.
There was a new game that came out recently, sort of in the vein of like Dark Souls and Bloodborne, called Neo, which sort of cribs off your idea of coexisting in a world, but they're not always present. Like, you can call on them for help, and or you can go into a hub and ask them to play through a level with you. And it's sort of like that. Like, they can't play that level unless they've already beat it. So I think for your idea as Mass Effect, if someone's going to co-op with you, to avoid them potentially disrupting anything in your story, they can't go through it unless they've already been through it. And I don't think it would be impossible, because I'm pretty sure I've played something like Saints Row or some other game like that had sort of a co-op along. I'm pretty sure it was Saints Row, where there is a story and there's like small decisions that you make, but if you're playing with co-op, they're just locked out of any sort of like in-game cinematics that have you making choices. I don't know what's projecting on their screen. I imagine it's probably just like waiting for player one. But if it's something like that for Mass Effect, which I don't imagine would be impossible for them to do at all, that it would work. I feel like that would be. Or if anything, like, especially if it gets to an area where it's incredibly gray, where you don't know what the right decision would be, you have your friend here who could potentially like say, well, I think it's this way, and you could argue. Like, it could create little discussions while you're trying to make the decision. I think that would be kind of cool too. Not all the time, but
you know what? No, I know, because they probably kind of did that with older. What is the RPG, the MMO that they made, the Old Republic? Yeah. I mean, didn't like everyone pick something? Whatever was the action that got picked or something? But I wonder, because Mass Effect, one of the coolest things about it, and I think the reason they sell it is it's kind of like a choose your own story game where you build the world based on your choices, and because interacting with other people, I mean, like, you can't see another you and another like Liara to Sony and another whatever. I feel like it'll take you out of the world a little bit. But I wonder, and I don't know how you would you know, because the characters are so important, and they have to be, unless they have huge resources. I mean, you have to have the same kind of characters in every game. But I always thought it'd be cool, you know, like it's a big world, and I don't know how, maybe you need a lot of resources. I don't know how you do this, but if you think about like you know, maybe the story isn't as linear as the other Mass Effects, and they have a lot of voice characters and characters to meet and stuff that you can do. And it would be interesting if like if they like, as they're, let's say you're making choices in the game and it is gray and you're tending to lean towards the Paragon side or something like that, and there's other characters going around their worlds leaning towards another side, and maybe you never interact with it, it's your game, but it's kind of pairing you with someone who's doing the opposite, and then the last kind of boss is a real person with a different team that made different choices that led them to the opposite path, and then you do a real fight kind of at the end, and that. But you would need some pretty fast like pairing and thought process, and I don't know how they would manage something like that.
Well, that would kind of be like.
But it would be cool.
That would kind of be like Division, so where you've got people who have, you know, they've built up characters in certain ways.
Was like the purple zone or? There was some zone. It was definitely a purple on the map for that game where like was PvP.
Yeah, so that would be interesting, like a PvP of it. But you could also just take over characters in like during gameplay. So somebody could control Liara, somebody could control Rex. Like they wouldn't have a part in the decision making, but
I feel like it would be cool if they tied in their story, like their own story into. I mean, so if you think about it. Like let's say you design the game and there's like, obviously you can make choices throughout the game that decide what characters are with you or how they act or how they like you. And I think even Mass Effect is this way. There's maybe like 3 times in the game where you're making huge decisions that genuinely lead you down different paths. And you could say, if you go down this path, like Liara dies no matter what. Like you may not know because you made that decision, but sometime down that path that happens, or you meet a character that never happens on this path. And so if people branch certain ways, and maybe it's super gray, then they're opposite enough that as you get towards the end of the game, you can start functioning in the same universe. But I don't know if that's possible because it'd have to be. I don't know how you manage it, but it seems like a cool idea.
This is all like wishful thinking, but.
And this is all confirmed for the day.
Yes. In a month, you'll be playing all of these ideas.
So I've watched a few of the videos. I know, Curtis, you're trying to stay as blind as possible.
Yes.
Abe, have you watched anything?
Yeah, so I watched the first like gameplay trailer thing that they did, and then I watched the story trailer, and I think they just came out with another gameplay trailer, but I haven't watched that.
I haven't either. So I'm kind of holding off, especially since we're getting under a month of time in between the game and its release. I'm just gonna leave with what I know and pre-order my copy. Hopefully, I've called a GameStop. They said they might and probably will do a midnight release. So I will probably be there getting it, and then I've already put in PTO for my job to take that day off.
Yeah.
Although, to be honest, I should have taken the day off afterwards because of install times.
Yes.
That is a thing now on all of these consoles.
When the third one came out, me and my sister got it, and we came over, like she set up her stuff next, and we literally played it for like 20 plus hours. We beat it in 2 days. We stayed up all night when we got it. We played it until we beat it. But it was super fun. That was a cool experience.
Well, these are the things I'm excited for. So I think that's where we're going to leave it. Guys, do you have anything else to add?
No, I had a good time. Thanks for inviting me, Eric, and for hosting the show.
No problem.
Look forward to more.
All right. So this has been Composite Conversations. Guys, thank you for listening. Until we catch you next time. Bye.
Toodles.
You know.